Hi, the SI meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Monday, February 11th. It'll become milder this afternoon here in the Mid-Atlantic region after a chilly weekend, and of course the big storm that occurred Friday into Saturday. That storm caused some incredible snowfall totals across Long Island and much of New England, with 30 to 40 inches of snow recorded. There was a small-scale band that set up during the storm between central Long Island and central Connecticut, and it just dumped incredible amounts of snow in a short period of time. One town in Connecticut recorded 12 inches in just 2 hours. It was turned out to be about the fifth biggest snowstorm of all time in Boston. That is, of course, way off the coast now, and we have some more precipitation moving into the northeast. Here's the latest radar loop from the Penn State EWOL site. Quite a bit of rain from Philadelphia on south, some of it freezing as temperatures are still pretty close to freezing in the northern and western suburbs of Philly. But much of this is now already moving to the east of the I-95 corridor, and the rest of today will turn out to be mostly cloudy with nothing more than a shower or two, perhaps temperatures reaching 50 degrees in many parts of the Mid-Atlantic region as we have a mild break here for a couple of days. Mixed precipitation up north. They will get some more snow, sleet, and freezing rain in New England, where there's still, of course, a tremendous snow cover. Well, all in all, this looks like a very active week for the Mid-Atlantic region. A couple of threats of precipitation. One on late Wednesday into Wednesday night. Looks like a storm will pull out of the south central states, head towards the Mid-Atlantic coast. It could certainly cause some rain, changing to snow in many parts of the Mid-Atlantic region. Again, late Wednesday into Wednesday night. We'll talk about that in a moment. Then over the weekend, it looks like there'll be a major cold air outbreak that'll pour cold air all the way down into the southeastern part of the country, way down into Florida. That cold air outbreak could be accompanied by a coastal storm. We'll have to monitor that possibility as the week progresses. This is last night's GFS ensemble run for the 500 millibar anomalies come Saturday morning, and I just want to point out a couple of things. A tremendous trough here. This kind of a trough indicates a couple of things. First of all, very cold air will be pouring into the central and eastern part of the country, all the way down to at least the northern part of Florida, perhaps even the central part of Florida. This trough is very likely to set off a coastal storm. It's a little unclear as to whether it'll be off the Mid-Atlantic coast or off the northeast coast, exactly how far off the coast it'll occur. Definitely a cold air outbreak for the weekend. That's probably going to turn out to be the biggest story of the week, along with the threat for snow. Before we get to that, though, we have a possibility late Wednesday into Wednesday night. Now let's focus in on that threat. Well, let's continue the theme with the GFS ensemble run from last night. This is the forecast map for the ensemble run for Wednesday morning. And again, we have a storm system that'll be in the southeastern part of the country. It'll come out of the south central U.S., moving on a track like that. Moderately cold air here in the Mid-Atlantic region. There will be a cold front sliding through later on today. That'll usher in moderately cold air. It'll be kind of a marginal cold air mass here to deal with on Wednesday. Now this is Wednesday morning. Let's jump ahead now to Wednesday evening. And here's the GFS ensemble run forecast for Wednesday evening. Again, notice the rain snow line kind of cutting through Washington, D.C., to Delmarva Peninsula. This storm heads towards the North Carolina coast, maybe southeastern Virginia from the southeastern part of the country. And there's some snow on the northwest side here, but initially it could be rain in the Washington area and even in Philadelphia later in the day on Wednesday. Let's now jump ahead 12 more hours. And here's the GFS ensemble forecast map for Thursday morning. By this time, that storm has moved off the coast. The rain very likely changed to snow in some of the big cities along the I-95 corridor here. Exactly how much is still to be determined. It certainly looks like there could be some accumulations here, but we'll have to monitor this over the next 24 to 48 hours. Again, we're dealing with marginal cold air. It looks like the possibility of rain changing to snow along the I-95 corridor late Wednesday into Wednesday evening. These maps, by the way, from RaleighWeather.com. Now let's continue to use the GFS ensemble run from last night, 0Z. This is for Saturday morning, just to show that cold air outbreak Here's a typical rain snow line we look at here, way down into the northern part of Florida. Just a very, very cold air mass here. The ensemble run putting out some light precipitation here inland, but some heavier precipitation here along the coast or off the coast. And again, there's a possibility of a storm to develop. We're not sure if it'll develop here or farther to the north up in here. GFS ensemble run has the low pressure area way up to the north here late Saturday. The cold air is definite. The snow is a threat at this point. The European model is also showing this kind of a cold air outbreak for the weekend. In fact, let's take a look at that right now. And here it is, the European ensemble run. Again, this is from the Raleigh weather site. Now notice the ensemble run for the Euro has a little farther to the south. Very cold air pouring all the way down the coast into the northern part of Florida. So kind of an explosive situation, possibilities on Saturday, especially with a deep upper level trough. But before we get to that, we'll have to worry about the midweek storm that'll come out of the south central states towards the mid-Atlantic coast late Wednesday and Wednesday night. So stay tuned to the SIweather.com for the next couple of days. That's it for now. I'm the SI meteorologist, Paul Dorian.